So I wrote a markdown parser. I saw this post on Reddit recently where someone wrote a markdown parser as an extension for PHP, and they did these benchmarks and it was so much faster than the alternatives out there. And with the 100 million row challenge still fresh in my memory, I wondered if we could do something in PHP that would be more performant as the alternatives out there. I know that the League implementation, for example, which is the most popular one in PHP, it uses a lot of regex and is made to be very extensible. And I know from writing a template parser in the past for Tempest that relying on regex can cause a very big performance hit. So I was curious how far we could push it in PHP. And so one day I sat down and I started coding. Okay, so we have something working here. I copied the lexer from Tempest View, and this is by far the most performance heavy path here, the things that happen here, because we're basically parsing a string into a set of tokens, and then those tokens we can parse into whatever we want. But there's not much to this class, but there are a couple of like important details here. The way we instead of using regex, we just loop over the string character by character. There are a couple of ways to look forward into the string to see what's coming. Like for example, if the next character is a hashtag, it means we're lexing a heading, and then we'll go into this method here, and then we'll consume everything that comes after the hashtag until a new line, and we'll return a new heading token. Anything that doesn't have a special lexing rule will end up being parsed as content. We have our lexer here, and we lex this string, and we assert that it has this token as a result. And if we have our list of tokens, then it's pretty trivial to parse that into HTML. That's not too difficult. It's the next morning. I just couldn't stop working on this package. Yesterday I was pretty disappointed when I ran some benchmarks, and they turned out to be very ineffective compared to other markdown implementations, which is kind of the only reason I'm building this for it to be faster. At least that's the challenge for me. So I went downstairs and took a little break, and then I was actually cooking, and I was thinking, I need to find some solution here. I can't help but think that there is an obvious problem. And so while I was cooking, I was just trying some things out and trying to find the performance bottleneck. I just couldn't believe that my implementation that wasn't relying on any regex was slower than the League version. And then I found it. And do you know that feeling when it just suddenly clicks? Yeah, that's what happened. I found the issue, I fixed it, and suddenly performance was like 4 times faster than League. And yeah, that felt really good. That was a huge motivator, because now I know the core ID works. I still have to add some more syntax stuff, which I'm going to do today, but the things I'm adding today don't have any significant effects on performance, because the main bottleneck is in the lexer, and that is solid. It's not going to change anymore. So I'm super happy. I'm super excited. I'm a little low on time today, and actually for the next couple of days. So I want to dive into the zone, and I want to write code. And that's what I'm going to do. And so I kept coding for the better part of the day. And I'm sure you know what this feels like when you have a project that you're so locked into that you just can't stop working on it. And it was super nice to be able to do that once again, because it doesn't happen all that often. And after 2 full days of coding, I wondered maybe I should ask someone from the outside to share their opinion and feedback on my code, because who knows what I'm overlooking, right? And what better way to get some quality feedback than to ask Reddit to roast my code? And that's how the day ended for me. I wrote my post and I went to bed, and I was looking forward to getting some feedback the next day. And feedback I got, because the next day when I woke up, there was this massive pull request where someone refactored the whole code base to a much more performant implementation. And so yeah, my implementation was like 4 times faster than League, but this one was 40 times faster. So it made me question my skills as a developer. But when I looked into it, I noticed something important. This pull request basically pulled everything into one file, got rid of all extensibility. And yes, it was faster, but it would also be impossible to build on top of. I have to tell you, I do write some markdown here and there for blogs, newsletters, books, documentation. Markdown is a pretty big part of what I do as a programmer. And having worked on this package for a couple of days, I was really starting to wonder whether I wanted to use it myself. Because anytime I use League's implementation, I have to do a lot of setup work manually. Like I have to manually add a couple of extensions for front matter, code highlighting, stuff like that. And it's never really a big problem. But what if I could just compose a require my package and it would all just work out of the box for the things I needed it to be? And so I noticed the goal of this package shift from pure best performance to something that would be actually usable for me and maybe for others, I don't know. And so even though I really appreciated the pull request and lots of other feedback I got as well, I figured, yeah, maybe I should shift my priorities. I added code highlighting, front matter support. Also, responsive images is a pretty big thing on my blog, so I built that in as well. Tables and lots of other small things. I also unleashed some AI agents trying to find ways to improve performance. And I guess it's a pretty good validation that they didn't come up with anything really useful when confined to the scope of it having to be kind of extensible still. And so yeah, those were 3 pretty interesting days where I started from a performance experiment that kind of transformed into something else that I'm now using on my blog, my newsletter, the Tempest documentation. Some other people are using it as well and experimenting with it. It's really cool. It's the power of open source, right? And there are 2 things I want you to take away from this video. First, I want you to encourage to keep experimenting. In this day and age of AI, you might wonder if it's still worth handcrafting something, but you know, it's fun. And it's a good learning opportunity and it encourages creativity, which is something we really shouldn't lose, I feel. And the second thing, if you're looking for inspiration, I think it's very good to push yourself to think outside the box or to question the things we've gotten used to. That's also how I ended up writing a framework. But it's really fun. It might turn out to be really productive as well. So yeah, I had a lot of fun and I wanted to share that journey with you. By the way, the package, the Markdown parser, it's live and available on Packagist. You can check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. And while you're down there, I want to ask you, well, to first leave a like, but also to leave a comment. Share what kind of cool projects you're working on. I'm super eager to hear from you, but I also think it's really inspiring to hear from others and see what kind of things they are working on. So with all of that being said, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.